Greetings, everyone. It is my pleasure to talk to you on how to bring a professional learning community, PLC, to teachers and other educators at your school or district so that they can learn about current research-based strategies to use when teaching English learners. The great thing is that all of these materials and resources that I'll be talking to you about today are available free of charge on the REL Southwest website. Let's get started. Excuse me. Okay, as we go through the slides, you will see icons from time to time on the bottom right-hand corner of your slide. The open book icon indicates that we are discussing a page in the PLC Facilitator's Guide, and it will tell you what page we're on. The single sheet of paper icon indicates that we are talking about a handout, and it will indicate the number of the handout. And the film camera icon indicates we are discussing a video from the video library. What we'd like to do now is take a poll to see what you already know about facilitating professional learning communities, or PLCs. The question is, what do you know about facilitating professional learning communities? You see there are some statements below. Please check the boxes that refer to you, that are applied to you, and you may check as many as you want. Thank you. I see that you are doing that now. Okay. It looks rather evenly spaced. Few of you have had no experience, so this is your first time learning about a PLC. Some of you have read about a PLC. Some of you have been a participant. It looks like 35% at this moment, 37%. Some of you have participated regularly, 30%, or have been a facilitator, 39%. And some of you oversee PLCs, a few, and some are charged with facilitating soon and are working in other ways with PLC. So thank you very much. So I see that many of you have had some or a lot of experience with a PLC. Thank you for participating in this poll. This gives us a good idea. These are the resources that are available on the REL Southwest website. And that link is available for you, I believe, to the right of the screen, if you click on that now. So up in the upper left-hand corner, you see the PLC Facilitator's Guide. When you click on the link to the REL Southwest website, you'll come to a landing page, and at that page opportunity, you will have these various resources, and you can then click on them. One of them is the PLC Facilitator's Guide, which is available as a PDF, and the handouts are within the Facilitator's Guide, and they're also available as a separate PDF. In the upper right-hand corner, we have a link to the video series. These are teachers actually trying out using the strategies that are discussed in the PLC Facilitator's Guide with their classrooms. So as participants learn about the strategies, they can actually see a teacher using the strategies in the classroom. And finally, below, you see a link to the IES, or the EL Practice Guide. The Practice Guide provides the content for the PLC. These are the research-based recommendations for instructional strategies to use with English learners. And the Facilitator's Guide is the vehicle for presenting these strategies to the teachers at your school. So the Facilitator's Guide is the how, and the Practice Guide is a what. I just wanted to spend a moment clarifying the different purposes of these two guides that we're talking about today. Here is another look at the EL Practice Guide, which is actually called Teaching Academic Content and Literacy to English Learners in Elementary and Middle School. There are 20 practice guides on the IES website, and the very first practice guide ever published was a practice guide for English learners, teaching literacy to English learners in elementary schools. That practice guide is still very current, but IES wanted to expand that original practice guide to include strategies for teaching writing in the classroom, strategies for content teachers to use as they are working with English learners, as is now required by Common Core standards, that content teachers also be involved in teaching literacy to English learners. And finally, to expand the grade levels involved to also include middle school. So IES called together a panel of people to meet on this. There were 6 university professors and researchers and 2 what they called expert practitioners from the field, in other words, teachers, and I was fortunate enough to be chosen as one of the teachers to participate on this panel, and it was a very big thrill for me and exhilarating to talk to other to researchers and to confer with the other teacher on the panel who was from Miami-Dade Public Schools. We came up after several days of discussion and over time with 4 recommendations based on research. There is a lot of research out in the field on teaching English learners, but not all of it meets the very strict standards of the Works Clearinghouse. The research needs to include randomized controlled trials and quasi-experimental design studies with strong causal evidence. So with the research that was available to us to use, we came up with 4 recommendations. And I just want to mention that all of the studies that we looked at included English-only students as well as English learners. So these strategies that we discuss in the practice guide are good for all students, not just English learners. And there were a variety of grade levels for each recommendation, so the panel felt confident in saying that these strategies and recommendations are good for all grade levels, kindergarten through middle school. Recommendation 1 is to teach a set of academic vocabulary words intensively across several days using a variety of instructional activities, and as you see, the level of evidence is strong. Recommendation 2, integrate oral and written English language instruction into content area teaching, and again, the level of evidence is strong. Recommendation 3, you see, has minimal evidence, and that is because there were only 2 studies on the teaching of writing with English learners available. So based on the expert opinion of the panel, we included this in the practice guide. Provide regular, structured opportunities to develop written language skills. And finally, recommendation 4 addresses the concern of long-term English learners and has moderate evidence. Provide small group instructional intervention to students struggling in areas of literacy and English language development. The reason that it was given a moderate level of evidence is because not all of the research was statistically significant. But we also included it in the practice guide because of what issue it addresses. From the poll, we know that many of you are very experienced with professional learning communities. But for those of you who haven't heard of them or this is your first opportunity to learn about them, professional learning communities allow teachers to come together outside of the classroom to learn, in this case, about strategies to expand their knowledge and improve their teaching. Many years ago, I attended a training on a new curriculum that we were going to use for math. And this curriculum was quite different than what we had been using. I was teaching second grade at the time. We had been using a regular textbook with basically activity sheets for the students to practice what they were learning. The new curriculum was all manipulative, which was wonderful, but there were no activity sheets for the students to use for their work. Anyway, all the training we had consisted of going to a middle school gymnasium, all 1,000 of the elementary teachers, and we had a presenter in the front of the room talking about the new curriculum for an hour or two using an overhead projector, and that was it. We were left to our own to figure out how to use the manipulatives in the classroom. A PLC is an opportunity to not suffer the frustration that those who have not had training suffer when they try new things out in the classroom. There are other ways that you can use a PLC to learn new topics, to share ideas, and to problem solve issues that a school might face, for example, student absenteeism or things like that. There are no cut and dried rules for forming a PLC. PLCs can consist of teachers from the same grade level or multiple grade levels, the same department, from across the district. There are whatever works at your site or within your district is okay. Additional information about PLCs can be found in the Facilitator's Guide on these pages, and I want to call your attention to the icon you've been seeing. The scope and sequence of the PLC follows the English Learner Practice Guide, the recommendations that I referred to earlier. There are 9 sessions altogether. The first session is an introductory session of 30 minutes, and the other sessions are approximately 75 minutes in length. So whereas I briefly went through the recommendations, teachers will have many opportunities to learn in depth about each recommendation. Recommendation 1, academic vocabulary, has 3 sessions. Recommendations 2 and 3 have 2 sessions each, and recommendation 4 has 1 session. The PLC guide session design follows a 5-step process that was described by Wald and Castleberry in the year 2000, the 5-step design for professional development, and it is on page 3 in the Facilitator's Guide. The first step is the debrief step. Step 2, define session goals. Step 3, explore new practices and compare them to current practices. Step 4, experiment with newly learned strategies. And step 5, reflect and plan. And I'll go over each of the steps in more detail. Step 1, debrief, is a time when participants can return from trying out a new strategy in their classroom, and as they meet again in the next session, they immediately debrief on what happened in the classroom when they tried out the strategy. Were they successful? Did they have some challenges? And they can share their experiences with one another and support each other. And perhaps someone had more success with something, and they can learn from each other during this first step of the process. Step 2, define session goals. These goals come directly from the recommendations in the practice guide, and they provide the goals for each session. Step 3 is the main event of the PLC experience. Explore new practices and compare them to current practices. During this step, participants will talk about what they currently do. For example, how do they currently prepare for vocabulary instruction, prepare the words. They will then learn about the new strategy, and at this time, as they're learning about the new strategy from the English Learner Practice Guide, they will get an opportunity to watch a video of a teacher actually using this strategy that they're learning about in the classroom. This happens in step 3, and I would like to now turn this over to Jackie, who is going to talk about this step in a video.
Thank you, Joan, for that introduction and the overview of the first 3 steps in the Professional Learning Community's Facilitator's Guide.